Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
After a days-long manhunt, a fugitive murderer has been captured nearly 2 hours away from where he escaped. We'll show you where he was and who is charged with helping him.
As we check out weather this morning, we are continuing to see our temperatures heat up close to 90 this afternoon. We'll talk about when humidity, though, returns to the forecast coming up.
And Vice President Kamala Harris is making a campaign stop in Raleigh today. The plan she's promoting to cut down on grocery costs and what time you may see traffic delays during her visit. Thank you so much for joining us on your Friday here on Fox 50. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
And I'm Renee Chu. We made it to the Friday, the end of the week, and we have a glorious start to our Friday. Let's get to meteorologist Anthony Baglione in for Elizabeth. And oh, that's a very peaceful view there.
It is, yeah. I wanted to start us off here heading into our Friday, right? Heading into the weekend. It's going to be a good couple of days for us. So good morning to all of you. We appreciate you watching. Lots of people, I'm sure, are going to be headed out on the water this weekend. I will say, if you have the option to do a lake versus heading to the beach, the coast, things like that, the ocean is going to be pretty rough here the next couple of days with Ernesto offshore. We are at 72, though, in Raleigh, Durham, 71, Fayetteville, Southern Pines checking in the upper 60s. There's a little bit of humidity for sure, but it's not going to be off the charts. In fact, that has just jumped up. So it is technically humid. I don't think it will feel too bad for us today, though, for where we could be. Upper 80s for us this afternoon, 90 degrees there in Fayetteville. We check out where we sit currently with Hurricane Ernesto. It is a Category 2 hurricane. In fact, there is the latest advisory that just popped in there at 8 o'clock. Still a Category 2, no major changes with that, 100-mile-per-hour winds. The outskirts of that system, about 550 miles offshore. We're going to talk about where this is headed beyond Bermuda, potentially, and look at our impacts, and then talk about the rest of our weekend forecast coming up here, Ken, in a few.
All right, Anthony, at 8:02, we continue to monitor this troubled spot we're seeing in those northbound lanes of US 1 because of a crash that we've been monitoring now for the last hour or so. And take a look at what we're talking about. This crash is causing quite a bit of delays in that particular area of US 1 near East William Street. It's right there in the entrance ramp to US 1 North on East Williams. If you're coming north this morning on US 1, I would get off on the Triangle Expressway, State Road 540, work your way over to Highway 64 and over to US 1 as an alternate route to avoid this slowdown. But I'll keep monitoring for you, let you know how much is going to affect your delay. Look at this, a 22-minute delay coming in from US 1 in the Apex area. So keep that in mind and really do take advantage of that alternate route I just mentioned just now. Elsewhere around the Triangle and surrounding communities, this crash on Trine Road in the eastbound lane near Gorman Street. We're not seeing any major delays for you this morning, so nothing to worry about there, but just something I wanted you to be aware of. There's also this crash on Creedmoor Road in northbound lanes near Strickland Road. Not going to affect your morning commute, but look for some police activity in that area just to be on the safe side, and just be careful going through that intersection. We do have reports of a disabled vehicle on Durley Road in the southbound lanes. We're seeing a little bit of a slowdown as a result of what's happening there with that disabled vehicle, but I'll keep monitoring it for you to let you know if it's going to continue to affect your morning commute at this hour.
Ken, thank you. Breaking news, the search for convicted murderer Ramon Alston is over. Just before 2 this morning, authorities captured him at a hotel in Kannapolis, just outside Charlotte. WRAL's Monica Casey is live this morning at the Orange County Sheriff's Office. And Monica, a lot of folks feeling relief this morning after this intense manhunt has finally come to an end.
More than 300 investigators from 19 law enforcement agencies were involved in this search. The FBI's Charlotte SWAT team, Charlotte Mecklenburg Police, and Kannapolis Police made the arrest nearly 2 hours away from where Alston originally escaped here in Hillsborough. Take a look at your screen. This video is of the hotel where Alston was arrested. We have dug into the timeline of his escape, but now we're learning more about where he was during those days on the run. We spoke with an employee at the hotel where Alston stayed Wednesday night into Thursday. She tells WRAL's Chris Lovingood, Alston seemed like a typical guest with normal behavior, not at all agitated. She described the moment police arrived on scene.
Police had found out that he had been here and it had been checked in under a female's name. And and it was quite crazy when they had gotten here. And then, I was told, and then she showed me who he was, and I was like, I actually talked to him.
Officials say Alston is now being taken to a high security unit in the state prison system where he will resume his life sentence and face new charges for this escape. We've repeatedly heard law enforcement say over the course of this investigation, if you help Alston, you will face charges. And now someone does. Jacobia Crisp was arrested in Alamance County. She is charged with felony aiding and abetting a fugitive. In Hillsborough, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
And more breaking news in Johnston County. A woman was found dead on US 70 near Pine Level. This is video from the WRAL breaking news tracker showing many members of law enforcement investigating early this morning. Authorities say they found the dead woman laying on the highway after a tractor trailer driver reported a road hazard. They say there's no evidence the truck hit the person. We are working to find out more about the person who was killed and if authorities know what happened.
Raleigh police say a woman died after she was hit by a car on Pool Road. The crash happened just after 9:30 last night near Beverly Drive. Video from the WRAL breaking news tracker shows a large police presence. Pool Road was closed between Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and Beverly Drive as officers investigated. We've made calls to try to learn any charges the driver who hit her may face.
Today, Vice President Kamala Harris will be in Raleigh for a campaign stop. She is expected to propose some new economic policies, including some that target rising grocery bills. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is live at RDU this morning. Kelsey, the Vice President is expected to arrive there a little after noon today.
Michelle, yes, we're expecting to see the Vice President landing here at RDU in just a few hours. She's expected to cover a lot about the economy during her speech today. Today's visit comes just one day after President Biden joined her on the campaign trail for the first time. This visit also is on the heels of Donald Trump's recent campaign stop in Asheville. Harris is expected to talk about cracking down on the meat industry. She says that's to blame for higher grocery prices. This industry plays a major role in North Carolina's economy. Our state is the biggest poultry and egg producer in the country. Federal data shows North Carolina chicken farm sales tripled between 2019 and 2022. Here's a look at Harris's schedule for the day. She's set to arrive at RDU at 12:45 this afternoon. The campaign event is set to start at 2:45, but we're still working to confirm the location. She's scheduled to fly back to D.C. just before 5 o'clock. We'll have crews to keep you updated throughout the day, both on air and online at WRAL.com. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live at RDU.
And as Kelsey just mentioned, Harris's visit comes days after former President Trump visited Asheville for a rally. Tomorrow, Trump will be in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania for an event. This will be the second time he has been back to the States since the assassination attempt against him in Butler. Harris will also visit Pennsylvania this weekend. She'll be in Pittsburgh on Sunday ahead of the National Democratic Convention. That starts Monday.
A man is seriously hurt after a shooting in southeast Raleigh. Police say the man was combative to first responders as they got there on the scene on Campanella Lane near Dandridge Drive. This was just before 8 last night. Video from the WRAL breaking news tracker shows officers restraining the man so that they could take him to the hospital. We're working to learn more about what led to the shooting and whether police have found the shooter.
And happening this morning, Durham's Mayor Leonardo Williams will announce a new fund that benefits nonprofits that help local youth. The Bull City Future Fund will offer grants to programs that work with vulnerable youth communities and are struggling to make ends meet. The money will be raised in partnership with the United Way and the Triangle Community Foundation. Today's news conference will be at the Boys and Girls Club at 9 a.m.
Police are trying to find 4 people who carjacked a person in Morrisville early Thursday morning. The car that was stolen was later found crashed in Morrisville, and that crash left a 16-year-old from Raleigh dead. Police say the 4 armed men stole the car from a person at gunpoint at the Camden Westwood Apartments in Morrisville. This was just before 2:30 Thursday morning. Officers started a chase, but then soon lost sight of the car. It was later found crashed on South Miami Boulevard in Durham a few hours later that morning. The 16-year-old who died was the only person in the car when it crashed. Police say this is a complex case since it spans 2 counties. The Morrisville police officer involved in the chase is now on administrative leave.
Gymnast Anna Barbasu will officially receive an Olympic bronze medal today. What U.S. gymnast Jordan Childs is saying about the decision to remove the bronze medal that she was awarded in Paris.
And a North Carolina teacher gave up a kidney to ensure that a former student will have a better chance at life. After the break, hear how she's feeling about the call to help others.
As we check out our weather this morning, temperatures are currently in the 60s and 70s, 72 right now in Raleigh. We're going to go over, though, how our weekend will feel, plus a look at rain chances that are headed this way coming up. Welcome back. It is just about 8:14 here on this Friday morning, where we are starting off with a little bit of humidity, but it certainly is not where we could be for the summertime months. Our temperatures are also pretty nice out there, 60s and 70s at the moment. And we're going to continue our trend very similar to what we saw yesterday, just as far as the forecast is concerned. It's almost a carbon copy of what we saw for our Thursday. Lower humidity today, but it will start to ramp back up even probably this evening. So I do think that will start to change. Upper 80s there for high temperatures today, right about 90 in Fayetteville. We should hit 88 there in Clinton. So all in all, a decent summer forecast for us today. We may sneak a stray shower or a thunderstorm here later on this evening, kind of while we're winding down for the night. I don't think that would affect dinner plans, though, and most of that would be pretty minor as far as an inconvenience or anything like that. 20% for us tomorrow, same thing, just a very slim chance of a shower. 90 degrees for us to start the weekend. We go to 89 there on Sunday. There is about a 60% chance of some storms coming through. That would mainly be just kind of off and on coverage. It's not going to be all day long tracking rainfall, but where we get some to form, some of them could be on the stronger side. We do have a level 1 risk there from the Storm Prediction Center. That includes essentially our entire state there of North Carolina. The mountains are not included currently, but just keep that in mind if you're traveling across the state or really this entire region. We could see a few storms on the strong side. Keep in mind also with Hurricane Ernesto offshore, this is the latest advisory. We're going to walk through this together, but because it's, I want to say close, but it's really not. It's about 550 miles, but relatively speaking, this is going to push a lot of water here in the direction of our coast, and that will increase our rip current threat likely through early next week. So please make sure, don't go in the water if you see those red flags flying. I want to kind of avoid any issues with that. There's Bermuda right about there. 100-mile-per-hour winds is where this currently sits. This latest track takes this in as a Category 2 hurricane still early Saturday morning. The landfall itself, it may actually not landfall on Bermuda. It may be just offshore, or so it technically would not be a landfall, I should say, but it's going to get very close. The impacts are still going to be the same there for the island. 2 a.m. Monday morning, a 90-mile-per-hour Category 1 hurricane pushing up to the north. So certainly an impactful storm system. 89 for us today, 90 on Saturday. We go to 89 on Sunday, and then look at that nice stretch of weather there into next weekend with highs in the low to mid 80s.
All right, Anthony, at 8:15, we continue to monitor this troubled spot we've been checking out the last hour or so. It's really in the northbound lanes coming in for US 1. The exit ramp, the crash right there at US 1 north near East William Street, causing quite a bit of delay this morning. If you're coming north on US 1 this morning, you're listening to us on the radio, I would highly encourage you to get off on State Highway 540, make your way over the Highway 64, and get over to US 1 North as an alternate route to avoid this slowdown that we're seeing. Check this out. It's looking like a 14-minute delay coming in on those northbound lanes of US 1, but we'll keep monitoring it. It's actually getting a little better. That was up to 22 minutes about half hour ago, so things are beginning to get better there a little bit. Also at Tryon Road and eastbound near Gorman Street, a crash that's not causing any problems for you this morning, but just something I wanted you to know about. This crash just cleared. It was right there on Creedmoor Road. That's a good thing, so you don't have anything to worry about. It probably cleared in the last 20 seconds or so. And the disabled vehicle was causing a little bit of a problems there on Durley Road in the southbound lane, but it's not causing any problems at this hour.
A passenger who was on board a flight that was forced to make an emergency landing at RDU yesterday is talking about his experience. Daniel Smith tells us he felt some shaking during his flight, but thought everything was fine until he smelled smoke. The smoke led to the unplanned stop at RDU. Sky 5 was there as the plane finally touched down on the runway. The flight was headed to Connecticut when it got diverted to RDU.
New affordable housing is coming to Wilson. The city will hold a groundbreaking for the new Pender Crossing apartments this morning. It's a 48-unit affordable housing project that will be at the former Pender Street Park. The City Housing Authority will provide rental assistance for 25 units. Today's groundbreaking will be at 10 a.m.
Kamala Harris's campaign is criticizing former President Donald Trump after a news conference where he said he is entitled to make personal attacks against her. Trump spoke Thursday from his golf course in New Jersey, and then he was surrounded by groceries displayed there as he talked about the increased cost of everyday items. Reporters asked him about criticism he's faced from some Republicans that he needs to avoid making personal attacks on Harris.
I think I'm entitled to personal attacks. I don't have a lot of respect for her. I don't have a lot of respect for her intelligence, and I think she'll be a terrible president.
In response, the Harris campaign called his news conference a, quote, stream of not much consciousness.
Newly announced price drops on 10 Medicare drugs could be just the start of more affordable prescriptions. The Biden administration says Medicare now has the power to negotiate drug prices. Amy Kiley reports on what that could mean for your health and your wallet.
We then took those 10 drugs, did negotiations, dropped the price.
10 Medicare prescription drug prices are set to come down in 2026, and dozens more could eventually follow.
These were drugs that Congress essentially gave us the direction on how to select them. They're the 10 most expensive drugs in the Medicare program.
They cover conditions like diabetes, heart failure, and cancer. The Biden administration says the new prices will save the federal government $6 billion and save seniors $1.5 billion. Those figures don't factor in some existing rebates and discounts, so the final numbers could be lower. Drug companies are suing over the negotiations, and pundits have varying opinions of them.
They say, okay, making this drug that I need less expensive, that helps me. That helps, as my family's planning our family budget.
It's like standing outside of a house on fire with a bucket that's half full.
The Inflation Reduction Act is what's empowering the negotiations. It contains a timeline that allows dozens more in the years to come. The Congressional Budget Office says negotiations could save $100 billion over a decade.
This is the first time in history we got to negotiate to lower the price of prescription medication in the Medicare program. We can do it. We'd like to do it for more.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Gymnast Ana Barbasu will receive the Olympic bronze medal in an official ceremony in Romania today. This comes as U.S. Olympic officials say the Court of Arbitration for Sport sent crucial emails related to appealing the decision to strip Jordan Chiles of the medal to the wrong email addresses. The emails were not corrected until August 9th, 2 days past the deadline to submit objections and less than 24 hours before the hearing. Chiles said in a statement yesterday that the decision to strip her of the medal felt unjust and was a significant blow. U.S. Olympic officials are still working to appeal the decision.
Realtors are bracing for the biggest shakeup to their business in decades. New rules go into place tomorrow about who pays real estate agents and how much. The rules will eliminate the long-standing 6% commission paid by sellers. That could potentially lower overall home prices. Some worry the new rules could push some realtors out of the business. It could also challenge first-time home buyers. They will now need to sign a representation agreement with an agent before even touring a home. Covering Wake County now, the Salvation Army is hosting a back-to-school bash today for students in need of school supplies. Over 900 children are registered to receive free backpacks filled with things they'll need for school. The event runs from 10 to 1 at the South Hills Mall Plaza over on Buck Jones Road.
Today, an emergency meeting will be held at UNC Chapel Hill to discuss the campus-wide. We're working to learn what the meeting is about. Specifically, leaders held a meeting to discuss plans for the building earlier this month. Today's meeting will be at 1:30 this afternoon.
A North Carolina man is closer to getting a new kidney, and that's because of a teacher's generous donation. Khalik Beatty of Penner County was born with a condition that affects his kidney. 8 years ago, he had a kidney transplant, but he recently learned it had run its course. His former teacher, Laura Akins, was willing to give him one of hers, but they weren't a match. Thanks to a program, she was able to donate her kidney to a complete stranger in exchange for moving Beatty up on the National Registry.
Got some bad news, and he was like, I'm going to be on the transplant list again. And I just felt a call.
I can truly say that that is my second mama.
Akins had her kidney surgery about 2 weeks ago, and Beatty will be going to UNC Charlotte this fall as he awaits a new kidney.
WRAL is your home for the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers will be back at Bank of America Stadium for their next preseason game against the New York Jets. You can catch all of the action on WRAL tomorrow night at 7.
The convicted murderer who escaped in Orange County is back in custody this morning. Coming up, hear from hotel staff at the place where authorities found Ramon Alston.
And Vice President Kamala Harris will be in Raleigh today for a campaign event. A look at when you may see traffic delays ahead of her arrival in the Triangle.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Time now is 8:26. Happy Friday. I'm Michelle McConaughey. Ken Smith tracking some backups on US 1, Ken.
Yeah, not very happy commuters this morning, particularly if they're coming in of US 1 in those northbound lanes down around the Apex area. A crash on the entrance ramp to US 1 North and East William Street causing quite a bit of delay in that area. If you're having to be on US 1 this morning, I would take State Road 540, get over to 64 and hop on back over to US 1 North because of that delay you're seeing right now. As you look at our sensors, it's causing about an 18-minute delay there in US 1. It's actually getting a little better. That was up to 22 minutes a little while ago. I have an update for you at the bottom of the hour over on Fox 50.
And Ken, as we check out the weather out there right now, we're looking pretty good. Lower humidity for the majority of us, at least through the next couple of hours. It may start to pick up as we get into this evening. Upper 80s, close to 90 for us today. Should be nice and dry. Maybe just a slight chance of a storm here late tonight when most of us are inside. 94 is there on Saturday. Upper 80s on Sunday. Sunday looks like the better day to see some scattered storms coming through. So if you have any plans and you need a just about completely dry day, I would steer that to Saturday. But for the majority of us, looking like a good weekend headed this way.
Thanks, Anthony. Breaking news, convicted murderer Ramon Alston was captured this morning after escaping custody on Tuesday. Officials say he was captured at a hotel in Kannapolis. The State Department of Corrections says no one was hurt when they took him into custody. A woman was arrested for aiding and abetting a fugitive. Next on Fox 50, a new fund to promote youth programs and prevent violence in Durham will be unveiled today. And coming up next on Today, Chance the Rapper rocks the plaza.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Now at 8:30, the three-day manhunt for an escaped murderer comes to an end at a hotel in Kannapolis.
Yeah, he just seemed normal and he wasn't agitated or anything like that.
Hear more from an employee at the hotel where Ramon Alston was hiding and how she says he was acting during his stay.
And as we head into our weekend, we continue to heat back up, but storm chances also may be with us there for some parts of the weekend. We're going to talk about the timing coming up.
Vice President Kamala Harris is set to make a campaign stop in Raleigh today. Coming up, the economic policy she's proposing that's aimed to cut the cost of your grocery bill.
It is a busy Friday morning news-wise, but a beautiful morning weather-wise. We thank you for staying with us. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. Yeah, plenty of sunshine today, plenty of sunshine tomorrow, but Sunday is what we're looking towards. Meteorologist Anthony Baglione has a beautiful look over the Bull City, Durham this morning. Gorgeous out there. Such
a nice start for us. Yeah, we were watching some of our cameras. The golfers were out, Pinehurst, Southern Pines. And here's where we sit in Durham. You can see just maybe a little bit of cloud cover off in the distance. It is going to be a beautiful start for us, and it already is this morning. A little bit of humidity, though, starts to come back into the picture. And even over the past couple of minutes, our dew point numbers there in the white box, they've tried to come up just a little bit. Keep in mind, 60s, though, across the board, it's still tolerable for this time of the year. 67, yeah, you feel some humidity. It's not too bad, I don't think, for at least depending on your comfort level today. It shouldn't be hugely noticeable. 72 there in Raleigh, 69 in Clinton, 67 is where we sit in Rocky Mount. We're going to climb pretty quickly, though, to 89 this afternoon. So just make sure if you're out and about, keep the water handy. It's still going to be hot. A little bit of humidity as well. May feel more like 91, 92. This evening, if you're grilling out or just enjoying your Friday night, you should not have any issues as far as any rain, things like that. A lot of sunshine also coming on through. We're continuing to track, though, Hurricane Ernesto offshore. There's Bermuda. This is the track there early Saturday morning as a Category 2 hurricane. We're going to show you where this goes beyond that coming up here in a few, Ken.
All right, Anthony, at 8:32, we continue to monitor this breaking news we've been following now on US 1 in those northbound lanes near East William Street. There's a crash on the entrance ramp to US 1 North near East William Street, causing quite a bit of delay. You can see it right there at East William Street. I would get off on State Road 540 as an alternate route, make your way over to Highway 54 and then back on US 1 to avoid the delays that we're seeing right now on US 1 North. And taking a look at our sensors this morning, this is what we're seeing in terms of the delays. You're looking at a 19-minute delay coming up on US 1. Also, our friends coming in from Wake Forest, you're looking at a 4-minute delay coming in on US 1 coming south as well in that neck of the woods. So keep that in mind. A couple of other instances we want to tell you about. There's a crash on Tryon Road in the eastbound lane near Gorman Street. I see a little bit of delay right there on those westbound lanes, but we'll keep monitoring that to see if that continues to affect your commute this morning. Also, this disabled vehicle was causing some problems on Julie Road in the southbound lanes, but it's not causing any problems anymore at this hour.
Thanks, Ken. Breaking news, the search for convicted murderer Ramon Alston is over. At about 2 o'clock this morning, authorities captured him at a hotel in Kannapolis, just outside of Charlotte. A woman described as an acquaintance of Alston is charged with aiding and abetting a fugitive. WRAL's Monica Casey is live this morning at the Orange County Sheriff's Office. Monica, this brings an intense manhunt to an end.
That's right. More than 300 investigators from 19 law enforcement agencies were involved in this search. The FBI's Charlotte SWAT team, Kannapolis Police, and Charlotte Mecklenburg Police made that arrest of Alston. It's about 2 hours away from here in Hillsborough, where he originally escaped. Now take a look at your screen. You're looking at the Microtel Inn in Kannapolis. That is where Alston was arrested earlier this morning. We have dug into the timeline of his escape, but we're now learning more about where he was during those days on the run. We spoke with an employee at a different hotel where Alston stayed Wednesday night into Thursday. She tells WRAL's Chris Lovingood he seemed like a typical guest with normal behavior, not at all agitated.
Nobody knew, who he was or what he had done. And there's times that we do have photos up of people back here that are wanted, but we didn't have anything, so we all did not know who he was. So that's quite scary, to know what he's capable of and knowing that we're interacting with someone like this. But he didn't give any, red flags to, any of us.
Officials say Alston is now being taken to a high security unit in the state prison system where he will resume his life sentence and face new charges for this escape. Now, we have repeatedly heard law enforcement say over the course of this investigation, if you help Alston in any way, you will be charged. And now someone has. A woman named Jacobia Crisp was arrested in Alamance County. She is charged with felony aiding and abetting a fugitive. Live in Hillsborough, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
More breaking news in Johnston County. A woman was found dead on US 70 near Pine Level. This video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker shows many sheriff's deputies and highway patrol officers investigating early this morning. Authorities say they found the dead woman lying on the highway after a tractor-trailer driver reported a road hazard. They say there's no evidence the truck hit the person. We're working to find out more about the person who was killed and if authorities know how it happened.
And a man is seriously hurt after a shooting in southeast Raleigh. Police say the man was combative to first responders as they arrived at the scene on Campanella Lane. That's near Dandridge Drive just before 8 o'clock last night. Video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker shows officers restraining the man so they can get him to the hospital. We are working to learn more about what led up to the shooting and whether police have made any arrests. And Raleigh police say a woman died after she was hit by a car on Poole Road. The crash happened just after 9:30 last night near Beverly Drive. Video from the WRAL breaking news tracker shows the large police presence at the scene of the crash. Poole Road was closed between Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and Beverly Drive as officers investigated. We've made phone calls to try and learn whether there are any charges that the driver may face.
Today, Vice President Kamala Harris will be in Raleigh. She's expected to talk about some economic policy proposals. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey has been waiting out at RDU this morning with what we can expect from Harris's address during her campaign stop today.
We're expecting to hear Vice President Kamala Harris talk a lot about the economy today, and her plane is set to land here at RDU in just a few hours. Today's visit comes just one day after President Biden joined her on the campaign trail for the first time. This visit is also on the heels of Donald Trump's recent campaign stop in Asheville. Harris is expected to talk about cracking down on the meat industry. She says that's to blame for higher grocery prices. This industry plays a major role in North Carolina's economy. Our state is the biggest poultry and egg producer in the country. Federal data shows North Carolina chicken farm sales tripled between 2019 and 2022. Here's a look at Harris's schedule for the day. She's set to arrive at RDU at 12:45 this afternoon. The campaign event is set to start at 2:45, but we're working to confirm the location. She's scheduled to fly back to D.C. just before 5 o'clock. We'll have crews to keep you updated throughout the day, both on air and online at WRAL.com. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News at RDU.
Harris's visit comes days after former President Donald Trump visited Asheville for a rally. Tomorrow, he will be in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania for an event. This will be the second time Trump has been back to the state since the assassination attempt against him in Butler. Harris also plans to visit Pennsylvania this weekend. She'll be in Pittsburgh on Sunday ahead of the Democratic National Convention, which starts Monday.
Raleigh police say violent crime is down in the downtown area compared to last year, but they're concerned about an increase in thefts involving cars and what could be inside them, like guns. RPD held a community meeting last night at Roberts Park to give a snapshot of downtown crime. That includes Glenwood South, Fayetteville Street, and Moore Square. They say the increase in car thefts led them to start a new auto task force in June. So far, that task force has recovered more than 40 cars. Raleigh Police Chief Estella Patterson says her goal is to reduce car theft citywide by 5%.
Happening this morning, the city of Durham will announce a new fund that benefits nonprofits that help local youth. City leaders hope it will help reduce crime. Youth crime and young victims of crime have been a major issue in Durham for years now. So far this year, 22 people under the age of 18 have been shot in Durham. 3 have been children 5 years old or younger. We've also seen juvenile petitions filed on dozens of minors for everything from car break-ins to assault. Mayor Leo Williams is hoping more resources for nonprofits working with these young people could make a difference. The fund is a partnership with the United Way of the Greater Triangle and the Triangle Community Foundation. The announcement will be held at the Boys and Girls Club of Durham and Orange counties.
This morning, Hurricane Ernesto is now a Category 2 storm as it makes its way closer to Bermuda. It could bring up to 15 inches of rain, and that is bringing issues of concern about flooding like we're seeing in Puerto Rico after the storm passed there earlier this week. Hundreds of thousands of people in Puerto Rico remain without power today, 3 days after Ernesto brushed the island as a tropical storm. The storm dropped up to a foot of rain on some parts of Puerto Rico. The private company in charge of the island's power grid says it is working around the clock to try and restore electricity. Just ahead, a woman is sharing her survival story after her best friend and her daughter were killed in a shooting. What she said happened the day that she and 3 others were shot.
And we're learning more about what led to the death of Friends actor Matthew Perry, the new arrest connected to his drug overdose death. Here's a live look at Fenton and Cary this morning. What a beautiful start to our Friday. Weather is calm and on the cooler side right now, but humidity will start creeping back up. Meteorologist Anthony Baglione will tell us when it starts to feel even muggier. Welcome back. You're looking live at the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences. to the left and a lot of construction going there on the right, but not a cloud in that sky there over downtown Raleigh. You're watching WRAL News, available on Hulu and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. Just looks gorgeous out there. We'll get a beautiful Friday, and things will be a little more unsettled going into the weekend, right, Anthony?
Yeah, just a little bit more for us. I do think we're going to manage to see a pretty good start for us tomorrow. Just a slight chance, maybe a storm coming through. It's very limited coverage. Humidity, though, will start to go back up. That's going to be a noticeable thing for us tomorrow. We hit 90, very similar for today, and then Sunday comes in, which we're going to talk about a little bit more here in a second. Some scattered storms possible for us. So the forecast is iffy, I'll call it. It's not going to be straight raining all day long, but there could be periods where it's raining, could be periods where it's a little bit drier. So that's something we're focusing on here for Sunday. We get us outside right now, though. So here's a look at our temperatures in the blue box, the dew point in the white box right there. The dew point being the measure of the moisture in the air, how it feels. Is it uncomfortable? Do you want to head back inside? Dew point's in the 60s right now, even mid to upper 60s. There's enough humidity where it is noticeable, but it's not off the charts. It's not super uncomfortable. It may make that temperature there, for instance, of 72 in Raleigh feel like a 74. So it's not going to be too bad for us today. We get us outside. There's a live look, our Chapel Hill camera, courtesy at the Top of the Hill restaurant right there. People out there in shorts enjoying. So you're going to want the sunglasses today. A nice dry start for us this morning. Looks really good out there currently with all the sunshine. Good pool day, for instance. That's why I chose that pool background for us. 89 for us for a high temperature today, 85 at 6 o'clock. Even this evening, we go down into the upper 70s, very close to 80. So shouldn't have any issues tonight. Let's talk about Sunday, though. So this is a look kind of at our severe risk. We are outlined from the Storm Prediction Center, not including the mountains, but this does include the bulk of our state for a few strong to severe storms that could get going. We don't quite have high resolution models that go out that far. That should come in later on this afternoon. So just make sure to keep tuning with that. But what I'll say is scattered storms starting in the morning, off and on through the day, and they should fizzle out into the evening. That's what we're looking at with the cold front coming through. Let's talk about Hurricane Ernesto here. This is the latest advisory. We'll get another one at 11 o'clock this morning. The outer bands of this system are about 550 miles offshore, and it will completely stay offshore. Bermuda, though, is right about there, and that track does take this very close to Bermuda. It may not quite make landfall technically in Bermuda, but the worst side of this storm on the right side, where it has more energy, it has more wind power, kind of, if you will, in this northwestern or northeastern rather part of the system, that's going to kind of pass very close to Bermuda. We go to 89, though, today, 90 tomorrow, 89 on Sunday. It looks like the tropics will quiet down after Ernesto. And then, guys, into next week, low to mid 80s looking like a really nice forecast.
Only on WRAL, we're hearing a woman's agonizing story of survival after her best friend and her daughter were shot to death. This is Micaiah Page. She and another man were shot, but survived what officials believe was a shocking case of domestic violence in Wilson County over the weekend. Page told WRAL what she believes may have prompted Daquan Jones to open fire on them, his girlfriend, and his 6-year-old daughter, Zoe. Page says Zoe did not want to leave her home, causing Jones to snap, first shooting his daughter, then his girlfriend, Kiara Massenberg. They both died.
He came in there and he put the gun to my head, and I'm just begging and pleading to him. Calm down.
Page said as she was running for safety, she was shot twice in the neck.
Several people have been arrested in connection with Friends star Matthew Perry's drug overdose death. Perry drowned last October following an overdose at his LA home. Federal prosecutors say 2 California doctors, a drug dealer, an alleged narcotics distributor, and Matthew Perry's live-in personal assistant have all been charged. Authorities say the 2 doctors were Perry's initial provider of the drug, illegally selling him 20 vials for $55,000 over 2 months. Perry then turned to a drug dealer known as the Ketamine Queen, who allegedly sold him the fatal dose. The Secret Service is planning to start putting former President Donald Trump behind bulletproof glass at campaign rallies. It's something that's commonly done for current presidents. An official says the Secret Service is also planning to increase the number of agents at Trump's events. This all comes a month after that assassination attempt in Pennsylvania.
Is filled with comedy and live music. WRAL lifestyle editor Kathy Hanrahan has the details in Out and About's Best Bets. Kathy, let's start with comedy.
I mean, we love to laugh, right? So we've got two great comedy shows coming up this weekend. Okay, first up, we've got Trey Kennedy. He's bringing his Grow Up tour to Durham Performing Arts Center. You might have seen him. He's done social media. He's big on TikTok, Instagram, 12 million followers. Tickets start at about $28. Then you've got Eddie Griffin, wonderful comedian and actor. He's over at Raleigh Improv, and he's going to be over there in Cary this weekend. 2 shows, Friday and Saturday. Tickets start at $40.
And the summer concert season is heating up. Tell us about some chances to catch live music this weekend.
There's a lot of shows this weekend. Okay, tonight you can enjoy some 1990s nostalgia at Booth Amphitheater in Cary. The Gin Blossoms, Toad the Wet Sprocket, and Vertical Horizon are all performing. That's where I'll be tonight. Tonight we also have Glass Animals bringing their tour, Tour of Earth, to Coastal Credit Union Music Park at Walnut Creek in Raleigh. And then Red Hat Amphitheater, you got Tate McRae performing on stage. Saturday, even more shows. We got Air Supply at Durham Performing Arts Center, Dan and Shay over at Walnut Creek. So busy.
I know. I'm actually going to Dan and Shay at Walnut Creek. I am so excited, but a lot happening. Also, downtown Raleigh City Plaza. That's going to be busy on Saturday with a big parade and festival. Tell us about that.
This is always a great event. The 11th annual Carib Mask Carnival Parade and Festival Village. It's all happening Saturday from noon to 8 p.m. There's going to be a parade, bands, food, vendors, noon to 8 p.m. Amazing event, free, great family event to go out to.
Absolutely. And to find out more about these events and see even more things to do this weekend, go to WRAL.com and search keyword out and about. Thanks, Kathy.
We have a first look at Travis Kelce's acting debut, and MTV reveals recipient of the 2024 Vanguard Music Award. Ashley Dvorkin has that and more in the Hollywood Nation.
Twisters storms home, Perry scores a top honor, and Kelce makes his acting debut in the Hollywood Nation.
Something is happening.
Ryan Murphy released a first look at his new FX series, Grotesquerie, which gives a glimpse at football star Travis Kelce's first foray into acting. He stars alongside Niecy Nash-Betts, who plays a detective investigating a string of heinous crimes that have unsettled a small community. The horror drama premieres September 25th. Katy Perry will receive MTV's coveted prize at the 2024 Video Music Awards next month. The global superstar is the recipient of this year's Video Vanguard Award. Perry will also perform a career-spanning medley of her biggest hits during the ceremony, which airs live from New York's UBS Arena September 11th. Irish rock band The Script dropped their new album, Satellites. It's their first major project since the passing of their beloved guitarist, Mark Sheehan.
What you're going to get from the album is a really clear and honest diary from the age I am and the age that we're living in, and trying to make sense of all the things that are going on around me, from love to loss, from life to grief.
Twisters spins into home entertainment, the blockbuster Disaster sequel, which earned more than $310 million at the global box office, is available to rent or buy digitally. The home release includes deleted scenes and a gag reel. Glenn Powell, Daisy Edgar-Jones, and Anthony Ramos star as the new generation of storm chasers.
If you feel it, chase it!
WRAL is your home for the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers will be at Bank of America Stadium for their next preseason game against the New York Jets. You can catch all the action on WRAL tomorrow night at 7.
Before we go to break, here's a look at the winning lottery numbers, and we'll get another check on your weather and traffic next.